Hi guys, I'm Chris.
And I'm Mike.
And welcome back to the last podcast of the year. How you doing this week, Mike?
I'm great. You know, I meant to bring up a few weeks ago now, we had an awesome patron hangout.
Yes, we did.
Two of our wonderful patrons were able to spend an evening on a Zoom call, catch up. It was great to see Dawn and Sherry, and really had a great time talking all things rap. We got into other books that we're reading, other authors we're into, some TV and movies. Man, we just had fun and enjoyed our time together.
Yeah,
nice.
It's always nice to hear from the listeners. Got to do another one of those. Get some more listeners on there. Love to hear from you guys.
Yep. You know, it was cool. Dawn always brings something special to these patron hangouts. She was wearing one of our Mitch Rapp Pod long sleeve shirts. She got the navy blue one, and it looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, it did. It looked really nice. So if you guys are still interested in getting one of them, getting your hands on one of those, or a sweatshirt or a short sleeve t-shirt, you can go to our website, mitchrappod.com, and click on the Teespring button. And I believe we still have that until the end of December, that 10% off, no limits coupon code, right? No limits.
Yep.
So yeah, go check it out if you're interested.
Patrons can get an extra 25% off by using a special promo code that we share through the Patreon platform. So
yes, check
it out. Hey, we also hope our patrons got our No Limits holiday greeting card. They were mailed out just shortly before Christmas. So hopefully you enjoyed our quote, "We hope there are no limits to your joy this holiday season" greeting card. So something we want to do just to recognize the patrons and how they help support this podcast so we can keep it going.
Yes, and speaking of patrons, so since this is the last podcast of the month, we have to do our December book giveaway.
Ding, ding, ding.
So it's again a winner's choice, and we have Executive Power, Pursuit of Honor, Extreme Measures, and The Survivor to pick from. Mike has the wheel of names with all the people put in there.
Yes, I do.
So you want to roll that, Mike?
Let's do it. All right, here we go.
Drum roll.
Spin that wheel.
No whammy, no whammy, no whammy.
Here it comes. Bridget W.
Nice.
You get to pick. You are the winner, also our newest patron. So you will get to pick Executive Power, Pursuit of Honor, Extreme Measures, or The Survivor, all signed by the authors, either Vince or Kyle, and we're happy to mail that out to you as soon as we hear back.
Yes.
Nice.
Speaking of patrons, so this pod is all dedicated to our sort of charitable wing, or our charitable endeavors, and we have an announcement to make. So Mike, you want to tell them about the PCF?
Yeah, I'm really excited. We decided that whatever extra funds, in addition to running our podcast and these giveaways, any additional funds will 100% be given back to a cause. And we identify the Prostate Cancer Foundation as a really great organization. They partner with the VA and Veterans Affairs to do a lot of cutting-edge research and treatment. A few episodes ago, we were able to speak to one of their administrators. We had a great conversation with her, and she really enlightened us on the amazing efforts they're making. So, thanks to the Mitch Rapp Pod community and your contributions, we were able to donate $250 with a 1-to-1 match going on for a total of $500 that this podcast community was able to contribute to the Prostate Cancer Foundation.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we tagged that donation in memory of Vince Flynn. You were able to, mark your donation as in memory or in honor of someone. It made me real proud to have you guys, the listeners, and our wonderful patrons give back and make this podcast bigger than just something for fun or entertainment once a week. We wanted to have a deeper meaning because that's what Vince gave to all of us with his work, his writing, and all his outreach to veterans and military families.
Yep. Yeah. So that's great. We're so happy that we were able to do that. So now, since we are wrapping up with PCF, today we're going to share with you in a little bit. I had an opportunity to sit down with the owner, or the daughter of the founder of a new charitable operation we're going to be teaming up with, and that operation is called Operation Paperback. And actually, Mike, you were the one who turned us on to this because you found them and you thought that they did some really great work.
Yeah, I was really excited when I found this organization that enlists volunteers from across the country to register and get emails. And on the platform, you will get the mailing address for military families currently serving, troops abroad, and or veterans that are requesting books. And so great cause, to get books in the hands of our active duty troops, but also our troops who have returned home. We've already put a little bit of effort into this. I was able to mail about 20 Vince Flynn books to currently serving troops abroad, and another maybe 20 to 30 books stateside to a VA hospital in Detroit. And so really excited. We're going to keep this going in 2021. We are going to make monthly shipments to troops with Vince Flynn books because we know these thrillers are, their currency for a lot of the service members, and they love them. So we want to get as many Vince Flynn books in the hands of military folks that we can. So excited about this.
All right. So we hope you enjoy this interview with Chrissy from Operation Paperback. And in the show notes and on social media, we'll be posting their website as well as their contact information. If you guys are interested, have extra books, want to donate. So yeah, and hope you enjoy this interview. Today, we are very excited to welcome the president and CEO of Operation Paperback, Chrissy Honeywell. This is an organization that works to send books to our men and women who are serving our great country. So yeah, can we just start out by, introducing yourself and your organization?
Okay, well, hi, I'm Chrissy Honeywell. Back in 1999, my husband was deployed to Kuwait. And I guess it was a new base at that time. It has since grown, and he called it a tent city. And there wasn't much for his guys to do. And so he kind of sent an alert back home. Could you send us things to do, and our spouses group got together and packaged up, Nerf football and board games and cards. And we threw some books in there and a lot of Valentine's Day candy. And delivered these huge packages overseas. And when I was talking to my parents about it, later in the week, explaining it to them, he said, could they use more books? And I said, I would think bored people would need lots of books, And so he got the address, and I thought he was just going to clear off the bookshelves in the basement. You know what I mean? My father's an avid reader, reads a lot of paperbacks, reads a lot of along the genre of Vince Flynn, like that sort of thing. It's his thing. And he ended up asking the neighbors and asking my grandma and going down to the Lions Club or someplace and asking them. And before we knew it, there were like 800 books in Kuwait, and Rick was building bookshelves. And my father, I don't know if he always thought that he would continue to just grow this organization, or was it like a one-time thing? But between him and people helping, it just took on a life of its own. He got some more addresses. Rick knew of some other units that were deployed, and we got some more addresses. And we started putting stickers on the books, it said Operation Paperback, and he was on AOL mail, his AOL address was on there, and, email me if you want more books kind of thing. And, the first couple of years, there were just, a little community there in Pennsylvania sending books. But as time went on, people got his AOL address, and, the internet was just kind of just getting going, and back in, you were born in 1999, right? Yeah, you were alive.
Yeah,
okay.
I was born in 90.
You look really young. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So,
I had an AIM back in the day, that was the thing.
Did you really? I never had an AOL address, but yeah, so it just kind of took on a life of its own. And as time went on, we attracted a couple people who knew a little more about the internet and offered to make us a bigger and better website. And, as time went on, my father couldn't keep up with the address requests on his AOL mail. So I started helping to answer mail. And eventually, fast forward to now, it's been 21 years. Our website for a while now has been more automated, where you can log in if you're a volunteer and get addresses yourself. You don't have to email someone for addresses. And, we send out, newsletters and requests for books and stuff. When he started, it was just him. And now there's, I don't know, 15,000 volunteers.
Wow.
They don't all send books, and they don't all send books regularly. Somebody will clear off their shelf, send books, and boom, they're done, or sign up and then forget, and not send books at all. And then we have like a set of regular mailers, and we just passed this year the 3 millionth book.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Going. And we've added veterans to the list too, because, we were sending to troops, but we had an awful lot of volunteers, and we thought, when troops come back and they're veterans and they're home, why shouldn't we support them too? So that's what we do.
Yeah, that's cool. I wanted to ask, is you mentioned 3 million books. How do you see it growing in the future? And is there a way that, we can, as a community of readers, help you grow more than just volunteering, donating books?
What I've always wanted to see in the future, there's kind of a, not a static number of troops, but, the number of troops in general stays the same unless, something happens and, a president decides, we need to increase or decrease the amount of troops. But we do continue to get volunteers, and we do continue to get veterans, as people leave the service and stuff like that. You have the same amount of troops, but the amount of veterans seems to increase. And it would be a really cool thing to find a way to reach out to more veterans. And, and a lot of times too, veterans, have like a little bump in adjusting back to, civilian life, or they have medical issues, or, there are things like that. And it would be really neat to be able to support them more fully. Now it's just word of mouth. Someone sees a book, or someone's in a VA hospital where we have books, around the country. And, it's just kind of hit or miss. It would be really nice to have like a concerted effort, so veterans knew that we were one of the support organizations.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
So I saw on your website, all of your, personnel are about full-time volunteers. So what do you do? What do you do full-time?
Well, I full-time from home. I'm a retired teacher, so I'm home. You don't need to know this, but during the summer, I rehabilitate wild rabbits.
Awesome.
So, let me run from the room and go grab a rabbit and put it in front of the camera so everybody can say, ah. I know that one of our volunteers, administrative volunteers, she runs another nonprofit from her home, and her kids are still young. And then a couple other people that help also work full time. So they just,
do
help
on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of mentioned it, but logistically, how does one do this if you wanted to become a volunteer?
It's actually really easy. You go to our website, which is www. I'm sure it's going to be like somewhere here, right? www.operationpaperback.org. Click on the link that says how to help. Most people sign up to send books. They have books on a bookshelf. Maybe they like to cruise, used book sales, or, back in the day before we all went out, when we could go shopping. And they just send books. So you're going to sign up. And once you have, let's say you've got a box of your Vince Flynn books that you want to give away, because you have in your enthusiasm bought 3 copies of each book, because I know that's all very enthusiastic, and you've decided that it's time to share them. And so you're going to pack up these books, and then you're going to log into the website for an address to send them to. And the way it's set up is you're logging in. Let's say you have 1 box of books. Let's make this easy. You select one address. And then you select for genres, I would call Vince Flynn action adventure, for lack of a better word. And you're going to select the type of book you have and enter it. And what happens with our system is the computer is going to give you the next person up that needs books and that needs action adventure books. They're not going to give you, hopefully, unless it malfunctions, they won't give you someone who wants romance novels or, cozy mysteries or something like that. And then you'll get the address, and you're going to address it and take it to the post office. We always stress mail media mail, because
Right.
books are heavy and you don't want to send priority, unless you're Rockefeller, right? And even if you're Rockefeller, don't you want to save your money for something else? So you're going to send
I
medium
imagine.
mail, which is an inexpensive way to send books. About a box of 25 paperbacks is about $7
Oh,
to
wow.
mail. So yeah, it's awesome. And then you're going to come home, and you could probably do this before you leave home, but officially you come home, you log back in, and you tell the website how many books you send. So we keep track of the shipments. That's how we know we've sent over 3 million books, because people are, reporting their shipments. And what's really nice too is that if I end up getting a thank you note, like sometimes a set of troops will email the thank you note to the address on the website. They won't have your particular address. Then I can forward that thank you note to you, because I'll look in the database and see, oh, this is who sent, the box of books around that date, and I can forward it to you. So it's
sounds really easy.
You get on the website. Okay. So full information here. We have lots of information, right? So we have lots of mailing tips and packaging tips and ideas for fundraising. Like, there's just a lot of stuff on there. And if you're an AOL user, if you know what I mean, like, you may be overwhelmed by all the information and think that it's really complicated to mail books, but it's not really. Put them in a box and go to the post office pretty much and get an address from us. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a way to, like, if we were to ask our, listeners if we wanted to get out there and sort of collect books from them and then do like one big shipment, is that better than, per se, everyone doing their own little shipments?
It works out the same.
Okay.
Yeah, it works out the same.
I guess along those lines, is there any COVID restrictions that you guys have had to implement, or, this is a crazy time.
It is
I know people,
time.
I just wanted to, get it out there in case people were wondering about that.
We did have people nervous when it all first, we were all more anxious, you know what I mean,
Right.
at first. It seems like the latest information is that the COVID virus on inanimate objects, books, my computer, my phone, whatever, that it doesn't have a long shelf life, whatever. My son's an EMT, and he's always saying things like this, Mom, like that. So people were, getting books and leaving them on their porch in the sunlight for 24 hours or whatever. According to my son, it's a couple hours and the COVID virus is dead. So you're probably pretty safe, even if you went to a used bookstore and grabbed books. Wear gloves if you want to. I don't know. And, once they're mailed, like, these people getting the books, like, these books have been in a box, for however long it takes to get there. And obviously you're going to wear a mask to the post office. You're going to follow whatever restrictions are at your post office. You're going to stand on the little sticker on the floor, and that kind of thing. So
yeah, rank and file, like everyone. So, yeah.
The new normal, right?
the new normal. Yes.
Normal.
I guess I don't know if you had any on the top of your head, but both me and Mike were interested if you had any important volunteer stories or sort of moments in history through your you've been doing this.
Oh,
you said
boy,
19
you should
years.
have given me advance notice of this. I could have.
I'm sorry.
Could have thought of cool stuff. We had one story of a woman who decided to collect books. This is pre-COVID, obviously. She wanted to collect books, and she was going around her neighborhood collecting or whatever, and she decorated her car. I don't know if there's still a picture on the website. She decorated her car and made it like, I don't know, the bookmobile or something, and videoed it, and like went around videoing people waving and putting books in her car and stuff. And, that doesn't sound like a big deal nowadays, but like back in like 2010, like that was a big deal, right? Nobody was videotaping themselves and putting it on YouTube, So, let me think about stories. Like, ask me another question, because like that's not fair. You should have asked me that question earlier.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I like off the cuff answers.
Right? And I'll be just like, I should have told him about the dog with the book. I'll remember something else.
Well, we could cut it in if you think of something before we run this episode. I'll let you know.
Okay.
So we're a Mitch Rapp, Vince Flynn podcast. So I have to ask: are you or anyone in your family a Mitch Rapp or Flynn fan? And if so, do you have a favorite book?
Okay, so I'm sorry to say that I'm not. I'm more of a sci-fi, fantasy, dystopian fiction kind of girl. I get a lot of, when I get donations, a lot of that genre of book, action, adventure, the Russians are coming, the terrorists are coming, that kind of thing. It's really, really popular with troops and veterans. I did look up I web searched you, and so I would know at least, I kind of guessed what it was about, but I thought, let's find out some information. And you should have seen my husband next to me. He's like, aren't you going to get the book and at least read kind of part of it? I'm like, no, I don't read stuff like that. But you can talk to the guys. Don't you want to do it? I'm just like, nah, they'll be good with it. They get it.
Well, you should read the latest one. I mean, they designed these to, even though it's I think this is the 19th book. You can pick up wherever, so it's not
yeah.
It's standalone. But obviously you get more if you have read everything. But
so what I thought was cool, I did listen to your first podcast episode, the one where you kind of introduced, doing this thing back in April. And what was really nice was to listen to people who are so enthusiastic about a book or a series or a character or an author. Like I don't know about you, but it's hard to find people in, your daily life who are really, avid readers, like jazzed about books or jazzed about something. And to find somebody that's just really into something, it didn't matter that I didn't read your books, and it didn't matter, but I will admire the covers as I put them into boxes. It's just nice to hear people that are enthusiastic about reading, and we do get some thank you notes back from the troops. And the really touching ones are things like, I haven't picked up a book since high school, but I'm bored here and there's nothing, to do when on my off-duty time. They're either working or they're bored, and they're picking up reading for pleasure, and people that have maybe never read for pleasure before. It was just a chore from school. So the enthusiasm is, across all genres,
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever, picked up a book that was donated and you liked it? You liked the cover so much that you read it real quick before you shipped it out?
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would totally do that. I'd be like, "Ooh, I got to read this one real quick."
Yeah, or
try not to bend the back or whatever.
Sometimes
funny.
when I'm sorting them too, since people request books by genre, it doesn't mean that if someone only has mysteries on their list, that when you're a volunteer and you're sending books, you only must go buy them mysteries. You can put in a few other things that they would like, and they can share them with other people. But sometimes I'll take a book and I'll flip it over to the back to see, kind of what genre is it? You know what I mean? Does it sound like something they would like? And then I'm reading the back of the book and, it sounds really good. And yeah, so that's a dangerous thing to read the bits on the back. Yeah.
I bet. Are people able to, if they don't want to buy books, are they able to just to donate money to you guys?
Yes, actually there is. I don't like to stump for money. You know what I mean? It just feels weird to me. I'm too old fashioned that way. But the thing that we will do with your money, if you do donate them, is a lot of times we'll get requests for special titles, and our volunteers don't have them. We'll put out, we have about a monthly email that goes out that, kind of highlights people who haven't received books lately, or someone who's asking for something weird, like they want, now I can't think of anything weird because, I'm on the spot, but, something that doesn't easily fit into, like they want cookbooks.
Right.
Not everybody wants to cook, but something like that, something that doesn't fit easily into a genre. They want a certain title. They've read a whole series. They want that latest Vince Flynn book, maybe, or something. And so we'll put out this email to our volunteers, and if nobody has it, that's what we use the money for. We'll just take the money and we'll go on Amazon, or we'll go to a bookstore and someone will buy it. So we use it to buy special titles. And
cool. Awesome. You managed to answer all my questions through the process of this, but
my husband does mention that I give a little too much information. So.
Oh, no, it's fine. Sorry. Is there? This just popped in my head, but do you accept children's books for children's of veterans, or for the families of the veterans, if people are interested in that?
Yes and no. Okay, there's a little history with that, in that right around 2010. Okay, do we say 2010 or do we say 2010? Do we know? Either. It's all up in the air, right? Okay, so right back in the turn of the last decade, we had a lot of volunteers, and we didn't have that many veterans. And one of our administrative volunteers is a military spouse. or she was at the time. He's since retired. And so she said, could we do a project where we were supporting military families, and families generally have children and they want children's books and some adult books. And so we did. We changed up our database and added it so that military families could sign up. And then for I don't know, 2, 3, 4, however long it took, we played catch up because military families were just, whoa, free book, you know what I mean? And yeah, it was awesome. And we kept pace kind of at first, and then we just fell behind, and you would sign up today in September, right? And you would get your books next August because we couldn't,
oh, wow.
keep up. And so we finally had to close that down. But we do still have some veterans that they'll, say in the little comments box, by the way, I have a 5-year-old daughter, and we let them, put that there. And then there are some people who want to send kids books. And we do have a couple of addresses that will do group projects for kids in the military. There's a group out in California that does projects with veterans and their kids. And there's a group, I think it's in Florida. She's got a community center where veterans and children and troops and everybody come in. So there is a place to send children's books if there's a volunteer that has collected them or has them and wants to share them. So
okay, cool. Yeah, that just popped in my head. I was like,
the short answer is yes, right? But that's the long answer.
No, that's great. Yeah, I figured there's got to be, obviously a bunch of veterans have kids and people have extra children's books. I have 2 kids myself, and they like some of them, but then they get tired of them. So you want to pass them on. So.
The thing too, I think, which is hard with children's books is let's say I do have kids, but they're older now. And if I'm ready to share children's books, well, there's some that are old favorites and you can't give away. There's some that are so ratty by the time the kids are done with them, I'm kind of embarrassed to send them, or they're sticky. I got a box of children's books. Someone sent them directly to me, and I swear all the covers were stuck to they grape jam or something like that. Yeah. That was
yes. I know exactly how that happens. That's funny. So I think it's great what you guys are doing. I actually myself sent a care package to a friend he's a CB, and he was stationed over, I guess at the time he was in Guam, and I sent him a care package, and he was a college roommate of mine, and he was so overjoyed with it. And so I can imagine anyone getting something, being lonely over there. And it also gives an opportunity, like you said, to, if someone hasn't read in a while, pick something up new or something they wouldn't necessarily buy. So
I think too, a lot of times, just a package that comes, even if it's from a stranger, if you're deployed, is just an expression of support. You know what I mean? Sometimes maybe you're in the service and you're feeling like, has America forgotten me? I mean, that's kind of dramatic. That sounds dramatic. But I'm over here and I'm doing this thing for the country. Right. But then boxes come from appreciative citizens of the country, and with a lovely thank you note in it. It just we get a lot of thank you notes where it's a big morale booster to get books. I mean, even if you don't read.
No, definitely. So we like to end this podcast by asking our guests, what's the last great thing they've read or watched, and what, or if they haven't watched or read anything that is of note, what are you currently consuming media-wise?
Well, this podcast is happening during COVID, right? So consuming more media than usual. I don't know if this dates me or shows my age or genre, but on TV, we're watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. And I'd seen it. It just keeps coming around, you know what I mean? And so we finally clicked on it, and that's pretty cute, except what I'm finding irritating, and I find this irritating in books too, is that it's supposed to be set in the 1950s, right? Have you seen it?
My wife watches it, and I watch it out of the corner of my eye, yeah.
Okay, so you don't want to cop to watching it. Okay, I get that. But it's supposed to be in the 1950s, right? That she's, just the dress and all this stuff with the cars. But some of the things they say are not, that was not happening in the 50s, right? So I'm not going to mention the F-bomb, right? But the F-bomb is all over that. And I never heard my mother say that, right? And then, okay, last night we watched an episode. Has she seen the episode where they go to the art gallery guy? He wants, the tall guy she's dating wants to buy a painting, and the guy won't sell, whatever. And he said something like, it's an urban legend, he says to her, right? She's like, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, I think that's an urban legend. I'm like, in the 1950s, there was not such thing as there were urban legends, but we didn't call them. And that kind of inconsistency, I'm thinking, pay attention, right? Like writers have to pay attention. I'm paying attention. You should be paying attention.
It's crazy, like some of the research that goes into the books, and I feel like in TV a lot of times they do research, but it's sort of, I don't know.
Yeah, they don't take
little
the
half measured, but yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it sounds like from what I read about the Vince Flynn books, and you could tell me that they're exceedingly researched, exceedingly detailed.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like, Tom Clancy, or I mean, not as like Tom Clancy and Robert Ludlum were very, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but they're a little bit different than that. But yeah, the research that went into like those kind of books go into these. And another author that we like is Brad Thor and Jack Carr, and just the amount of research goes into these. And a lot of them, like we just interviewed Kyle Mills, and he like tries to go to the places where he puts in his books.
Oh, so, cool. Yeah. It's funny. I did not make it through this book, but Bill Clinton has a book out, and I don't know, you probably have to like bleep out his name or something, because where's this podcast going to go? And I really don't want, I don't want people at my door thinking I was dissing an ex-president, but I think
no worries.
Some kind of like adventure, and I thought, ooh, well, this would be, I was painting a room, and sometimes I'll buy an audiobook to listen to while I'm painting a room. And it's not really my style. Like I said, it was kind of, in the lines of the president was kidnapped, or, like that kind of thing. And then somebody has to come, Mitch Rappish has to come and save him. It's like that, right? Mitch Rappish. That could be a good adjective. Okay. But
we should trademark that. That's nice.
Like Mitch Rappish young man. So I got through like the first 2 chapters, and he hadn't even been kidnapped yet, right? And the book was like kind of advertised as having a lot of inside detail because Bill Clinton was a president, right? So I got it because I thought this could be cool, right? Just the little ins and outs of, well, how does the Secret Service do that? Well, what happens if there's a threat? Do they just drag him to the basement? Or is there a trap door? Like, I thought there would be cool inner, White House details, right? Well, there were cool details, all right, but it was like endless things about going to meetings and leaving meetings, and who was sitting where at meetings, and who blinked their eyes in a meeting. And I just thought they took a little too much input maybe from Bill Clinton. Okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, they should have gotten an author like Vince Flynn or Kyle, you know what I mean? To like action it up, right? Everybody's in a room at a meeting, but like a trap door opens, and the table falls down, like something like that. So yeah, I didn't make it through that book.
Oh man. I think I know what book you're talking about. I haven't. I don't think I'll read that one either.
You just have to bleep out the author if you decide to share that story.
What's I guess to sort of someone who did a better job of that is Vince Flynn in his second novel. He was so accurate in terms of the White House like description and.
Oh gosh, did he get in trouble?
These secret passageways that he not in trouble, but he had to put a disclaimer at the beginning of his book that he made like drastic changes to everything because it didn't want to be too accurate where he was giving away.
Yeah, well, it's actually that's funny. I may have to read it.
You should. You should. I guess you mentioned audiobooks. Is there, I imagine there's veterans who maybe, either have lost their sight or can't read. Is there a way to donate audiobooks?
Yes. Mostly the people wanting them are VA homes or VA hospitals. And I would think that an audiobook would be especially easy in the hospital. Do you know what I mean? Just, that someone could just put, headphones on and listen or something like that. And occasionally there'll be someone who's, we had a guy who was on our list who, I only know this because he wrote in the comment box that he was losing his eyesight. You know what I mean? And so we then started sending him audiobooks. So yeah.
Do you have any like super avid readers who read more than 100 books a month or something like that?
You mean recipients that really?
Yeah, recipients. Yeah.
No.
They're too busy working.
I guess, we do
Not
send
sitting here doing the
sometimes
podcast.
the website is kind of an automatic system to rotate out the names, right? And sometimes a name will rotate out really quickly several times in a row. I think maybe it's if you didn't jump right back on to say you'd mailed your package, so the website will, anyway, and then someone will get, I don't know, 5 boxes of books, and we do get panicked emails sometimes. I need you to stop sending me books until I make it through like these 100 books that just arrived on my doorstep. So all I do is then just say, well, our volunteers are very enthusiastic.
Exactly. I guess, is there a way, do you guys on social media at all, or just on the website, operationpaperback.com? You're on Facebook?
We're on Facebook.
Okay, cool.
And all right, I probably shouldn't say it's not a really active page. Like, it's not all like posting every day and, look at this cool book cover or whatever. But and one of our other admins, Marissa, really likes to update the Facebook page. And her latest thing, if you guys navigate over there, is like asking book questions. Today's a beautiful sunny day. What's your favorite beach read? Oh, look, here's a picture of the table next to my bed, and she's got 6 books stacked there waiting. How many books are stacked on your table next to your bed? Like things like, so that's been pretty cute. I think she started that during COVID.
Nice. Yeah, no, I've been seeing a lot of those from our listeners. They have like all of the Vince Flynn novels with the new one on top.
Something to do, right? A to-do list.
Exactly. Well, that was awesome. I thank you for taking the time to meet with me today.
I appreciate you taking the time.
I definitely think we actually met a couple of our patrons last week. We did a live Q&A with a few of them, and they were wondering, how they could help with, our sort of charity wing. I don't even know, charity part of our organization, but yeah. No, we want to highlight, people like you doing great stuff.
Think about ways to spread the word to the veteran community. We all just, we brainstorm once in a while and then we get distracted. And, and I think that if, you could reach every VA post, are they called? VFW post. If you could reach all of those and send all of them flyers, or if you could, the VA hospitals kind of generally know what we're doing, but if there was just a way to pass the word to veterans, we're here to support them too, like free books.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. This was great. Me and Mike, it's funny. You said like people buying 3 copies. I think he now he pre-ordered the latest one once, and then he found out they were doing another one where you could get it signed with this special thing. So then he ordered it again. Mm-hmm. And then his wife was like, the first one you pre-ordered, that one has to go somewhere else. So we're slowly gathering some of our books to, give away. So we're definitely going to be signing up. So,
well, I'll look for you guys signing up on the website.
Yes. Cool.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Chrissy.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. So we hope you enjoyed that interview. And we also hope that you have a happy new year. I hope 2021 is a hell of a lot better than 2020. But to ring us into the new year, we're going to be doing Consent to Kill in January. So the next time you hear from us, we'll be dropping our episode 1, or part 1 of Consent to Kill. So looking forward to that. And we need to give one final thank you to our patrons, our special operator, Sherry F., and our special agents, George, Matt, Dawn, Dennis, Peggy, Catherine, Ray, Bridget, and Jeff. Please subscribe, rate, and review us using your favorite podcasting platform. And you can find us online at mitchrappod.com or on Twitter and Instagram at mitchrappod. And as always, just let Mitch be Mitch. Just a disclaimer, this podcast is not affiliated with Vince Flynn, Kyle Mills, or Simon & Schuster, but thank you to them for bringing us the wonderful world of rap. And the music soundtrack is Guerrilla Tactics by Raphael Crux.